Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button, join the community. Today, I wanted to take some time to talk about something that I had earlier mentioned. I think December 11th, I made a video talking about skills in the Division 2. Don't watch that video. I think I was probably really tired when I recorded that audio. So I went back and listened to it. I was like, yeah, I would not want to listen to this. It just sounded so groggy. And I may have been a little ill in that season too. But I was just, still pushing myself. But lately, since we've seen the patch regarding Warlords of New York and all the, marketing and, all the hyping, there was something really peculiar that not a lot of people have talked about. Some have spoken about it, but I haven't really seen much word of it continue. And I don't think many people realize how, I would say, landmark or how game-changing this is. This is the sticky bomb. Now, when this was shown, a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, you're bringing the sticky bomb back. I'm buying the expansion." As much as you want to argue about how the sticky bomb showed up in the Division 1, created a problem, made many content creators famous. There were at least two content creators. I can name them, Jasimian and Marco Style, who ran some of the best sticky bomb builds that troubled everybody. Marco Style ran it on PC, disturbed the whole PC meta. Jasimian did. Now, there were other people who did, but those were kind of the exhibitions for most of these content creators to kind of come out and troll the community and eventually gain some attention and start sharing their ideas. And one of the really interesting things about this sticky bomb is it's not just something that's changing the game. It's starting to gain whispers of people actually saying there might be other Division 1 type skills that might not have been released in terms of or shown in terms of the entire Warlords of New York. Now, there might also be other of these skills that are coming in future patches and future updates in the game. Now, to me, I think this is probably something that needed to happen as a Division 1 player, because bringing back these skills help us to kind of experience some of the things that made the Division 1 kind of a solid entry. I mean, it's amazing that we're returning to New York. And one of the things that I didn't really pay attention to, I would have been much more certain when I was making, I think I made like somewhere around 20 to 30 videos regarding New York. I can't remember. It might not be that much, but it felt like it. Is a lot of the collectibles in terms of the cell phone data and the recordings were actually pointing us back to New York within the Division 2 game, telling us a lot of other things. You had Aaron Keener, you had what's his name? The guy that is the technical guy that you go get somewhere in Division 1. He's the guy that helps you with the power grid to restore power. You had some voice stuff from him as well. And so all of these collectibles should have clued us in, but I think we were just so busy, waiting, to see if new content will come and challenging a lot of, the lack of content and some of the practices in the Division 2 that we didn't really pay attention to the fun side of things, which is the lore. The Division 2 is gonna be a whole year in terms of its timeline. It came out March last year, and right now we're seeing an expansion, and we're hoping that this expansion will be able to at least sustain the community for at least another 3 months. That's usually, in my opinion, where the sweet spot for players before they start to get antsy and are asking for new replayable content. So what does this sticky bomb thing mean? Does this mean that the Division 1 really had some really wonderful nuggets? I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is, as much as they can bring Division 1 concepts into the Division 2, make them fresh, but not necessarily import the entire game, maybe put spins on them, they can definitely get the support of the community with that. And this helps me to pivot to another huge discussion topic, because this is something that, a lot of players are saying right now, and it's in whispers, and I can see this probably potentially becoming something of a huge talking point within the community. Now, the content that we're getting in New York, to me, I feel like it's sufficient for a $29 price tag. Well, to be very honest, I think about $20 would probably, be a sweet spot. But let's just say $9 for boosting your character, for being able to boost a character, or two, whatever. So in this case, you think about it, you say, okay, we have, I think, 5 missions. We have seasons, we have new gear sets, we have, all kinds of fun stuff, even global events that are, slated to be coming. These are all good. But there's something about this kind of replayable content that will be a topic of discussion very soon. And from the Division 1, we had these things in the very first, few years of the game. In fact, not even the very first few years. Survival and Underground were there, and many players are asking for something of this sort, especially now that we're returning to New York. We're hoping that the storyline will continue therein and continue to expand Manhattan. When I first mentioned this in one of my videos, it was the most outlandish thing I could have said in the entire community I've ever said anyways. And, people said, come on, that's just crazy. They're not going to do it. That's what a lot of people said. They're not going to do it. And here we are. We've gotten a slice of it. So at this point, we're asking, can we get more of New York to be able to creep our way into the good things that New York had to offer? A bigger dark zone in New York. I don't think they need to write that project off. I think they need to seriously consider it and put it on the table. Now, you also have to ask yourself, what is the population of PvP and PvE players that really played the Dark Zone in the Division 1? Is this population going to be willing to get in there? And what is the population of new players that might be willing to try out things like survival or an underground mode? In fact, if they put an underground mode in DC, people will still be happy to play it regardless of where it is. I don't think it really matters. I think the idea behind underground was solid. They used a procedurally generated world where the levels could, look similar to other levels you played, but have a different world traversal. Very smart idea that they implemented. And so this kind of made things and kept things fresh. You had different directives that went with them. And when global events actually influenced them, you could also see some difference in play style. So the return of New York itself, the return of one old skill that we've seen. We don't know if there are going to be any more. Who knows? You might log in on March 3rd and see a support station. My goodness. People that are saying they're going to wait for the DLC, they're probably going to change their minds once they see something along the lines of that. I know skill power players who are going to be excited about this change, and they're probably going to wait a little bit to see if the skills are actually strong because of all the changes. And I think they will be. I think, they want you to play your skills in different ways, but also hopefully those skills will have a significance when it comes to the gameplay itself. And then, I think now it's time to move on past just the other additions in terms of what made Division 1 good, and now bring back the core structures, that underground type gameplay, the survival type gameplay, and then a bigger dark zone. I think these 3 steps are the next 3 steps that massive Ubisoft can take to expand this game for, another full content delivery in terms of the game, and they need to do it fast. I don't think they need to waste any time. I think they need to maybe add pieces of this right now with year 2, not like necessarily drop everything, and then maybe down the road they're able to say, okay, we have this content for you, Division community, here's this content, here's what we're going to be doing with it, and even have these discussions leading up to that. And I remember they asked the developer, so what's going to be happening after year 2? And Yannick said, we're not, thinking about year 2 just yet. We want to deliver, year 3, So we're not thinking about anything further down the road. We want to deliver year 2 content. I don't think that's necessarily 100% accurate. Massive is working on 2 games as we speak. They're working on a Division, they're supporting the Division, and they're working on Avatar. So they are a company that can multitask, in my opinion. Now, is it the best way to go? Maybe, but maybe or maybe not. But in terms of financial stressors and financial demands, it might be the smartest way for them to go. If you look at the Avatar scene, the movie is slated to be coming out perhaps I don't know if it's coming out December of this year or December of next year. I can't remember. But I think they position themselves well to be able to drive that hype train with the movie, the second movie release, and their game. So let me hear what you think in the comment section. I think this is something that we're going to see a progression more into New York City, because DC, as beautiful and as wonderful was the work that everyone everybody, from that team put into the development of and deployment of Washington, D.C. for a second game, I don't think it held as much of a huge platform, or I don't think it held much of a flagship aspect of the game. New York is the flagship of the division. It's just where the whole story started, and I think the story needs to end there. And even down the road, I think the snow needs to return in order for us to be able to get some really serious dynamic gameplay from the Division 2. Anyways, that's it for me. I'll let you go, or you let me go. And I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button if you're not part of the Gaming Daddy community. What are you waiting for? And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.